Hi there folks, Borislav247 here with another Days Gone video from my sub-challenges series, where I show one specific challenge and break down all the sub-challenges that lie within it. And on this video, it's the OUTRIDE challenge that gets my full attention. Now, throughout all my time playing these challenges, I've never really taken the time to go into great detail about the sub-challenges that need to be completed. Well, all that is going to change, as I intend on showing all 12 challenges in this video series and then breaking down and showing every sub-challenge completed in as easy a way as possible. And trust me when I say this, a lot of these sub-challenges can be simplified. Now then, before I get into a bit more detail on these sub-challenges, the first thing that I actually have to do is to change the information that's on screen. Because what you can currently see is the requirements for a bronze standard on all these sub-challenges. I, as always, am only interested in the gold standards, so let's change this right now. Right then, now that I've got the correct information on screen, let's get to it. And I'm very pleased to say that for the OUTRIDE challenge, all of the sub-challenges are fairly self-explanatory. So I'll start with Heir Apparent. This requires you to get 33 seconds of airtime in total throughout the course of one run. And as always with these air challenges, it doesn't matter whether you're using ramps or whether you're using the natural environment to get this job done. Now, the second sub-challenge is Desert Drifter. This requires you to drift for a total of 25 seconds. This one can be simplified hugely because you don't actually need to complete the challenge in order to get this done. There is a very specific location that I'm going to take this one out from. Now, the third sub-challenge is Road Killer. This requires you to kill 15 freakers. Now, this may sound like quite a lot, but as always, there is a fantastically easy workaround to get the job done for this particular sub-challenge, which I will show. And finally, on to the last sub-challenge, and this is the sub-challenge that gives everybody the most bother, and it is Sick Line. This requires you to maintain a score chain for 120 seconds. Now, what this actually means is very simply that from the start of the run, you have to keep the multiplier going for 2 complete full minutes in order to get this job done. So this one does, unfortunately, require you to virtually complete the entire course in order to get the job done for this one. And I will explain in a bit more detail when I get to this one exactly how you can do this. So, now that all the sub-challenges are explained, let's get to the setup page. And trust me, there's not actually that much to show on this particular page. Right then, on to the setup, and truthfully, not much is really required to show you. If you do want to use rings for a bit of extra help, there is only 2 I recommend, and that is Snake and Tire, because they both protect the bike from damage. But I'm ready to go, so let's get on with Desert Drifter. Right then, Desert Drifter, the first sub-challenge. This requires you to get 25 seconds of drifting in place over the course of one run. And this can be simplified hugely because there is one specific location that I'm looking to get this done, and it comes very early on. After that jump there, this is the area you want to work on. You will have just over a minute to get the job done here, but you only require 25 seconds of drifting time, of course. So because it is such a long stretch around here, there is the odd freaker, yes, but you can take them out with gunplay, it's not a problem. I'm actually just keeping to this particular area up here, and I'm going to start to try and get the job done even quicker now, because you can do donuts here as well. These will count. And as you can see already, I've just about got the job done for this one. It really isn't a big task when you do it this way, as opposed to trying to basically work throughout the entire challenge and get this done. You just simply don't need to do that. So there we go, that is it, job done. And because the clock is running out here, that's fine, I'm just going to let it play out. and this will get Desert Drifter taken care of very nicely. There we go. That is the easy way to get that particular sub-challenge taken care of. Okay, 1 down, 4 to go. Okay, now that I've got some credits, I am going to take the time to change the character from Deacon to Ricky. Now, there's no significant advantages here. It's quite simply a case of I prefer using Ricky to Deacon. That's basically it. But on to the next sub-challenge, which is Roadkiller. Right then, on to Roadkiller. This requires you to kill 15 freakers over the course of 1 run. Now, it is worth noting that Bench Studio have this design that you're basically looking to take out the freakers as you work your way throughout the entire course. But there is an easier way of getting this job done. Now, I do take out 1 or 2 en route to the location that I'm going to. And basically it's round about halfway through the course. As you can see, there's a great number of freakers, and I am taking out one. I've taken out 2 of them so far. I'm not worried how many I take out at this point, because when I get to the area that I need to be at, there is plenty of freakers. Because yes, you probably have guessed this, there is a horde on this particular challenge. And depending on how you play this game, you may have never seen this horde, but it is there. I'm going to get off here, and it's very nice of them to give you an eliminator. It's one of the better handguns. And from here, the horde is right over here. This is where I'm going to take this sub-challenge out. Very easily, I might add. Because even now, and this is the first challenge I am taking on, so I have no extra patch perks to help me in any way, shape or form. I'm still getting the job done nicely with this bad boy. When you're reasonably close range, you don't even need to worry about headshots. And there we go. That's it. I'm just taking out a few more just for the hell of it, but job done. That is as easy as it gets for Roadkiller. Very nice. Okay, that is 2 down and 2 to go. So the next sub-challenge that's going to be taken care of is Heir Apparent. So this is how it's done, folks. Right then, on to Heir Apparent, and this requires you to get 33 seconds of airtime, whether it be via using the ramps or just using the natural environment. And as you can see straight off the bat there, I was actually using the natural environment just to get a little bit of airtime, but the majority of the airtime that you get will come from the ramps, because obviously they get you an awful lot more height. So I basically take the time to try and use the boost just before I'm hitting each one of these ramps every time, just to get a little bit more airtime out of them. Now, the disadvantages on this challenge compared to some of the other challenges like Drifter's Run and Hogwild is that you are on a time limit here. You have to follow the course, because at the very start of OUTRIDE you get 1 minute, and unless you keep following through these archways, that time will run out very quickly. So in order to get this job done, you do unfortunately have to take out virtually the entire course. But if you just follow this route that I take, this will get you the 33 seconds very easily, I might add. So from here I am looking for this ramp here. Just make sure you're lined up correctly. You don't have to be going flat out on this particular run to get this airtime. Just make sure that you're basically using a bit of boost every time before these jumps, and that will just maximize what you're already doing. Now, there is one that is a little bit of an exception to. I am going to use the boost, but I'm going to use it early. And don't keep the boost button held down, because if you do, you'll over jump that ramp and you will crash. It wouldn't be the end of your run, because you can still continue, but if you crash on a particular jump, you do not get the airtime for it. So that is worth noting. As you can see there, I had a jump at the end which didn't even matter. I already had the 33 seconds in place, And that should be enough to get me a silver score. Yep, very nice. I'm hoping to take out a gold on the next sub-challenge. Right then, just one sub-challenge left to take on, which is going to be the infamous sick line. But before I take on this sub-challenge, I am going to take the time to get some rings in place. Snake is definitely worth having because I am going to be doing a lot of drifting on this particular sub-challenge, and tire, of course, just for a bit of extra bike protection. So, on to the last one, and I've kept this one to last for a good reason. This is the one that gives everybody problems on, but this is how it's done, folks. Right then, on to the dreaded, infamous sick line sub-challenge. This challenge requires you to maintain the multiplier on this challenge for 120 seconds. And the key to getting this done, folks, is all about the jumps, because you want to be taking as many of them as possible and at all times. And when you have any sections where you don't have jumps in place, you want to be going to drifting. That is the key to getting this done. And this section in particular here, if you're not drifting here, you're going to do a lot of harm to your multiplier. So at this point again, after that huge jump, a lot of drifting required at this point here. And I'm heading down this way for a good reason. It lines you up very nicely for a set of 3 jumps that you can take. And the thing is, while you're in the air, your multiplier will never go down. So the more airtime you can get when trying to take out this particular sub-challenge, the better. This point here, I'm not going to risk trying to do any drifting because you're likely to come off the bike. It's a dangerous area. But at this point here, this jump is fantastic. Get a lot of airtime with that one, so again, while you're in the air, there's no issues with that multiplier. But after that arch here, this section, yeah, focus on a good bit of drifting. Because it not only does it make sure that that multiplier will stay in place, but it sets you up nicely for the next set of arches. And this section especially, because there's not much in the way of jumps now until the very end. At this point, I just like to keep the drifting going, and at the moment it's looking pretty good here. Yep. Taking out the freakers is never a bad thing either, because they all contribute to the multiplier, of course. And at this point now, I'm not even bothering going on to the end until I can see the 120 taken care of. Now, because I've done so much drifting and I've actually got the gold for that sub-challenge in place and the gold for the sick line, I should realistically here be able to get a gold score. Fantastic. That is my gold score also taken care of. So there we have it, folks. That is pretty much everything taken care of for this challenge. The last thing that I need to do is to basically show you all what the patch perk is for this challenge. And it's worth noting, this is one of the best in the game. If I just go over to it now, look at this. Melee weapon durability is increased by a whopping 40%. And as always, these patch perks don't just apply to the challenges, they apply to the main Days Gone games, so this is a huge one to have in your arsenal right from the very start when playing Days Gone. And that's the end of the video, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Take care.